The day after St. Patrick's Day was a total waste. We were so hungover. I'm sure we left at some point to get something to eat, but I can't even remember. The following day, poor Martin had to go to work and be a human being. So eventually I rolled out of bed, still pretty hungover from St. Patrick's Day, and headed across the alley to see what was going on at his mom's house. There were two brothers there I hadn't met before, Thomas and Chris. Thomas was cleaning out this stove.
Anybody in New York wants a chimney clean, no problem. $100.
What's that? No. I've never seen this before.
This has to be done every morning.
Every kitchen I'd seen so far, it had this stove. They were originally coal ovens, but through some like EU deregulation, and everybody had to use bog moss or peat moss, which comes in these bricks. They look like brown house bricks that burn cleaner, I guess, but they leave a fucking Himalayan mountain of soot. And that's what Thomas was doing. He was spending his whole day cleaning out the stove for his mom.
I actually had two ladies from New York on the boat last week over.
Oh, you're the boat captain?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Skipper, yeah.
I'd been hearing about this son, Chris, for a week.
Captain only if you're in the Navy.
I'd mentioned that I wanted to go on a ferry while I was in Ireland. And his mother was like, oh, I wish we'd known you were coming. We would have called Chris. He's a boat captain. He would have gladly taken you out.
So are you a vapor?
Yeah, I used to be a hundred.
Used to smoke cigarettes? Oh yeah, jeez.
So I couldn't afford it anymore. Nothing to do with health. Just cost a fortune.
You don't smoke, no?
No, I did when I was younger, but I have bad lungs.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
Anyway.
That all goes down the back, down there now. Anything gets up the chimney, you can brush it down the back and clean it out this way. You can open, there's a door there as well where you can open it.
Yeah.
And you go right into the chimney itself.
You don't want to know anything about that in case somebody might get you to do something. Oh God,
We went and saw a castle yesterday on the top of a hill.
Did he bring you to Rock of Dunamace? Was it an old ruins?
Yeah.
I was going to say at least who could have done was brought you there, since it's only up the road.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great that you can actually stand on the walls.
Don't go to go around it, no.
Heard Glenda Lock was jammed yesterday.
Of course, it always is. Don't go near that in Paddy's Day. It's a fucking disaster. Don't go near it any bank holiday.
Jammed. Go back, the traffic was
It's
back
always
up
the
to
same.
Lara.
That's why I never go hiking up there until like midweek. You never go on Paddy's Day. You wouldn't get a visa card in the car park.
Mrs. McKenna found out that I had never had Irish French toast. So everything had to be stopped. We couldn't go anywhere until Chris made me authentic Irish French toast, which was great. I don't eat butter or anything like that in America, but my stomach was still fighting with 18 pints of Guinness from 2 days before, so anything was gonna help. So after we ate, I ran back across the alley to Martin's house to go blow up his bathroom, and Mrs. McKenna worked her magic while I was gone, because when I came back, Chris was like, all right, I got the day off, you're coming with me. What do you like? And I was like, I don't know, like I want to see some water, I like animals. And he was like, perfect, let's go, get in the car.
10 pheasant probably. Again, an introduced bird. In here, it's been here hundreds of years now. We were introduced a long time ago, but now basically resident. But they're also reared a lot. They breed a lot of them for shooting. Not so much anymore because not so many people shoot, but they would be pheasants. Female is a drab brown colour, well camouflaged. She's the one that sits on the nest. The male is really brightly coloured, and I've often had to stop the car in the middle of the road during the breeding season because two males will be fighting and they will not give a flying fuck about the traffic. They'll stall the traffic. You have to get out and push them off the road. They just get so into fighting one another. They won't stop. So this is the Grand Canal. Where we are now is the bridge, Fisherstown Bridge. So this is the section, this is called the Barrow line of the Grand Canal. So it connects the Grand Canal proper to the Barrow River in the ATHY. So this was a link between the two to facilitate transport. In the 1750s it came through. So this is where I tie up my boat. There's a boat down here. This is where I tie up the boat when I'm bringing it down to dry dock in the ATHY. So I can pop up to the fisherman's for a couple of nights. always welcome. Oh, he's just leaving. So this is the hire barge. So there's a company down in Vickerstown that rent out barges to holiday makers. You can take it and self-pilot. So these people have obviously hired it. They've done a lot of work here. That's a much bigger jetty than was here the last time I was here. Fair play to what it was there. We can walk on the bridge in a second. I'll show you a piece of history actually. So this is the jetty where the boats tie up. This is a typical narrowboat barge. Howdy folks! Yeah, are you going or coming?
What day is today?
Yeah, you hired from Creeds in Vickerstown, yeah. How are you finding it? It's great, it's a great way of life. The good thing is when you're going at the speed of a barge, even when you crash, you're never going to really do any damage. I kind of have the best of both worlds. That's what I do for a living. I'm a barge skipper on a tour barge in Salon. So great to see. They've done great work here since I was here last. Just set a pop down. Great to see a new jetty, and it was very small. Sorry?
Do you live on the barge?
No, unfortunately, I'm not rich enough. I just work it.
As you can see by now, I hit a gold mine with this guy. This guy has a story, a joke, a tale, and a fun fact for literally everything you will see and do while you're in Ireland.
This is the bridge. Now you can even see it from here. So, back in the day, those barges were pulled by a horse. And that was the fastest means of transport. So the horse walked along this towpath, attached to the barge by a rope. And you can see they travelled for so long and so often that they wore grooves in the stone, the rope. Wore grooves from constant traffic of boats going by day after day. You feel how smooth that is. They wore it completely smooth. It takes a long time to wear limestone like that. So that'll tell you how often and for how long the barges ran, where the rope would hit a different line and over the years and keep wearing away. You'll see that on the edges of all the bridges under the arc. Perfect. Not as severe here because the path doesn't veer out as much. The path veered a long way away from the bridge there, so it wore a lot more. So these are just nice smooth grooves over all the years of wear. So there's history evident of the boat traffic. It's a fantastic period of time. These were the motorways of the day. Fastest means of transport back then. Each boat could pull 50 ton. They'd load with 50 ton of goods. Either grain or beef or coal coming out of the city or barrels of Guinness. And the horse would pull that all day long. So he'd pull 50 ton along until he got to the next stop and then rest up then for the night to go on to the next section, the next level. Incredible piece of infrastructure. You can see how the path was on that where the horse was, or the tow path. Now it's the blue way, they've converted it for wheelchair users as well, so people of all mobilities can travel along the canal and enjoy the nature. Fantastic corridors of nature. So that lovely noise you hear is our rooks who live together in communal rookeries this time of year. You can see all the nests dotted around the trees. They're one of our 7 species of crows in Ireland. So the rooks are the most social. They're the ones that tend to live together in groups like this. And we have one coastal one called a chough. He's got really bright red feet and a red beak. He doesn't really look like a crow because he's got a really hooked beak. And then we have ravens, which were exclusively in the mountain areas in Ireland, but now in the last couple of decades they've wandered down into the lowlands, so we get to see them quite regularly. We have grey crows, jays, magpies and jackdaws, and they're all pretty much common. You get to see them everywhere. These guys, I love that noise. See, this guy's just starting his nest. This is a new addition. This is like an extension to the rookery. It's the first nesting those trees. Some places you have hundreds of nests, literally hundreds, in the one group of trees. You can see the bigger ones are been added onto from last year and the year before. This is one of the heritage barges. So this would have been one of the original barges that was used back in the day when they were drawn by horses, and then when the engines came, they got the Bollinger engine, the single cylinder engine. They swapped out the horse for an engine, and that was in the early 1900s. But this was one of the original ones. So when the canals closed down, people bought these private owners, because these just would have been an open hull. There would have been no structure. They just piled the goods into it, and then people bought them after the canals closed down, built these superstructures on them and turned them into houseboats. That's what you see today.
Remind me when my face is red. Bullshit, my life just pulled the thread.
My shield's about one that's reckless, but I put a straight to my head.
Can't live this life with you inside.
Yeah, so this is a narrow boat. That's a mid-wide, and then the big one is the full width. The biggest boat. The bigger, that's the full size of it. So this is a narrow boat, very much an English design. The reason they're obviously called narrow boats because they're narrow, but the reason they were made narrow is because a lot of the canals in England were dug through mountains. So to minimise the amount of digging and blasting they had to do, they made them as narrow as they could. So the boats had to be narrow to fit on them. So that's why they're called narrow.
With you inside, I won't be nothing down when you fucking die.
And these ones are cruisers, this white fiberglass structure. These would be more river boats. These ones would be canal barges. That's Rosanna. She was moored in ATHY for a long time. They moved over here. That's a liveaboard. A couple of ladies live on that, and their dog, as you can hear. And this, the Ala. And Ala is the Irish for swan. So this one's called a swan in Irish. And that's a cruiser, so that's a riverboat. Again, another cruiser over there. This is another mid-wide barge.
Years keep passing me by with the same old problems, like I'm stuck in time, as if they were programmed in just to mess with my mind. I
Literally just
up on the easy days, 'cause the easy days keep making me crazy and losing track of the days and weeks.
Continue the canal, the link between the Grand Canal and ATHY. They had to get across the Strap Valley River. So if it was, this is what you would call a stream or a brook. Back in the day it was called a river here. See how shallow it is, how small. Ordinarily, if it was a big river, what they would have done back in the day was put a lock on either side. So lock, as I said, is basically an elevator for the wall. So what you come down the canal, you'd lock down to the river, you go across the river and lock back up into the other section of the canal. But this was too shallow, too small for that. So they just put the aqueduct across.
Some sort of alignment somewhere inside this mess of a mind, in this mess of a time. But I keep wandering off beat to the game. Same mistakes to reach another existential blockade. Can't help but wonder what else I'm missing in this dimension. The presence now like some form of hell. We're stuck.
18th century engineering at its best.
I can't stop feeling like there's way more. I can't stop feeling like there's way more. I can't stop feeling like there's way more.
Traffic control. Pigeons. Hello. Hello.
We're unlucky for 2 plates.
Yeah, plenty to minute anyway.
Yeah, you're from here?
ATHY, yeah.
Oh, very good.
Plenty to minute.
Yeah, I've had a couple of decent ones here. Like.
Yeah, there's some crackers in it. Great spot for tench too, just around the bend.
Hey.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine feeding a spot down here. Do you do a bit?
Yeah, yeah. When I get time, unfortunately not enough.
Oh, yes. It's always the way with fishing, isn't it?
Yeah. Not, and a couple
We
more
couldn't
times.
catch you gas today. What's the crack?
Well, luckily I haven't had any on the canal now.
Oh, no, I mean, we were after them in the river.
Yeah, on the river, oh yeah. When it was this time of year, they're not taking start to spawn.
Yes, I said that to you because one of them was like the sandpaper.
Once the temperatures come up a little bit, they're going to spawning mode, and that's it, they won't feed. Then we've got to see shoals of bream. They're all sitting there.
Yeah, I understand the tension, the bream.
It's super value. You see, you can literally walk across the river without getting your feet wet. You have to tighten the pack together. And it won't take anything. You've just gone into breeding mode, so the days must be the same. A bit of sun during the week is after bringing them into, putting them into spawning mode.
Even though the frost is...
Yeah, but still, once the temperature goes up a little bit, once they get that sunshine enough, because they're fairly shallow in the water all the time.
Yeah, suppose, yeah.
Might be going faster than the tension, the breathe, you know.
Yeah,
Hello, can you
yeah.
smell my bowl liquors? I have 3 bowl liquors at home, and that's all I'm good for.
The tent should kick in any day now. I'm
Yeah.
feeding a spot now near where I
The
live.
lad had a nice one
We
yesterday
live
in the tie.
Tullamore, like, huh?
The lad had a lovely one yesterday in the tie.
Brilliant.
Cracker, about 3-4 pounds, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
They're on the rise, they're on the move at the moment, so now's the time that they start.
Yeah.
Hopefully now, it's to get warmer as the week goes on. I think that's the last of the cool weather for a while anyway.
When we left those fishermen, we drove along the canal for a couple miles till we got to ATHY, another beautiful, really picturesque city, exactly what you would want when you were booking a trip to Ireland, but would never know how to get to. Then we circled back up and started headed back to Croft, and we stopped at the Moat of Ardscull, which is another military formation built on a huge hill. You have 360 vantage point everywhere, and you know it's been there for a billion years, of course.
So it's called the Moat of Ardscull. So the Normans would have had this as a stronghold, as you can see for miles. You can see all the way into Laois and all the way across the Wicklow and all the way into Carlow. You'll see where it would have been at. See the ditch? So this was all the way around to stop them attacking it. It would have been higher out here and lower in there so that horses couldn't climb over, the men couldn't storm it without being detected. And then they would have had a lookout tower at the top. We'll go up the hard way.
Drink the bottles and throw it to the floor.
And again you'll hear the rooks. It's a big rookery here, has been for centuries. It's seems to be a couple of 100 years old. You can also hear that different sound. It's not a rook, it's a jackdaw. Another member of the Croft family. There's 2 of them there, slightly smaller than the rooks. And they're obviously named for the noise they make a noise like jackdaw. So that's where they got the name. It's meant to be up at the level of the top of the trees. Before those trees grew, you'll be able to see all around. See all the way down to Carlow. Carlow Hills there in Laois. You can actually see all the way to the bogs over in the Midlands in Offaly, the far side of Offaly, where there's wind turbines now. Would have been all bogs. See for miles.
Drink the bottles.
See how far you can see. That's the limits of Kildare now going into Wicklow. It's Corvallis Hill. And like I said, it's hazy today, but see the Wicklow mountains up there. They had a commanding view of all the country, so nobody was going to attack them by surprise. Sneak up on them, you know. Big trees. None of these trees would have been here when it was a fort, so they had unobstructed views the whole way. You can see right up to Dublin, all the way up into Offaly.
How long do you think this path has been here that we're walking on?
Definitely over 150 years. It's a popular spot with people coming. You can see all the way, there's Offaly over there. And that tree wasn't there, and you could see right to where the wind farm, and you've got the Slieve Bloom Mountains over there, which are in Offaly in the Midlands. So you can see how there would have been such a military stronghold, an advantage to hold this high point. You could see your enemies coming. And then the whole lot surrounded by that stone wall like that. Beautiful little spot.
Shit, attitude's been a bit negative, and I keep leaving all my friends where I never miss this, but I think I'm starting to fade away. But all the things keep changing, I'm stuck in a thought that I'll never escape. I sleep reminded of this doom and this mansion. I've learned fear of the portals of victory.
So this was interesting. This wasn't the site of just an old fort that the Irish tribes had, and then the British had taken, and then the Irish tribes had again. Like, who knows how many people had a sword put through their head at this place. In 1903, it was also the site of the Gordon Bennett Cup. I don't know anything about sports or racing, but this was the precursor race that would eventually spawn Formula One racing, but it does seem to have more in line with like the Gumball Rally. I don't know if you call these stock cars or funny cars, but the 4 superpowers at the time, America, France, Germany, and England, all sent 3 racers over to Ireland to compete in this thing. The way it worked is that if you won the year before, then your country got to put up the race. And since Ireland was part of the UK at the time, they held this race down in Kildare. It's a nice game of solidarity and friendliness between nations. Fortunately, but probably not surprising, Germany won that year.
4 men went from ATHY to World War I than any other town in Ireland. They sent more than anybody else. There's a big World War I commemoration in the museum as well. When you're back next time, you'll have to pay a visit. Well worth it for the World War I history, the Gordon Bennett history, and the shackles on the stuff.
So Chris dropped me off back in Suncroft just as Martin was getting home from work. He put together a little bit of a dinner, so we got a nice base together. Then we headed back over to the Croft to make up for lost time.
No way to walk away, no way to run, it ain't a kind of joy.